So, from my experience, a lot of customers have been asking me about the scalability of the new autoscaler. So, one of the experiences that I've had with a lot of customers has been around, as I mentioned, that basically customers may have very sporadic workloads, and they in the past may have, as Sale was mentioning, buying flex slots using the cloud functions in the past to scale up when they know a big job is running, and they perhaps thought that the autoscaler would run the same processes in the same way, just under the hood, when in reality, there is some scalability factors that need to be taken into consideration when you use the autoscaler in BigQuery. So that's one of the biggest questions that I've had from customers has been, how do we best manage that as opposed to what we used to do, where you would just build a cloud function or a function at the start of your DBT pipeline or Airflow DAG that would automatically spin the slots up for you. How do you cope with the scalability, and that the autoscaler will work off what maximum you set and will scale on that basis? So a lot of customers have asked, how do we manage that? I suppose so. That's been one of the things that I've noticed from my experience, mainly.
So that's exactly where my thoughts are going on this one, Matthew. And you just touched on there, how do we manage the auto scaling? In my possibly naive view of the world, auto stands for automatic, and this should be taking care of everything for me. And in most cases in the cloud, an auto scaling is based off some kind of event, some kind of trigger that says, if my queue length is too long, if the number of instances I'm using isn't serving my customers quickly enough, whatever that might be, then I need to scale. I need to throw more resources at it, and when I'm finished, scale back down. So how do we? You mentioned already that there's if a job needs more slots, how do we determine it needs it? I noticed in Sales blog post he talked about there's a calculator there, and I don't like using calculators. So is there some automatic method here?
So each BigQuery job that runs will take a certain amount of slots per second, essentially, in terms of its utilization. So in the information schema in BigQuery, you can examine the different jobs that you have running and see exactly how many slots these are utilizing. Then this can be taken up by different jobs running across your environment. You could have multiple. It could be a big ETL job that's running that's consuming a certain amount of slots on the hour. So there is ways that you can track how many slots are being used. And through the BigQuery autoscaler, you would set your baseline slots, which are always available to you, and your maximum slots, which can be auto-scaled to. And then from that, the BigQuery, when jobs are being executed, will scale up when it needs those slots in increments of 100. So BigQuery under the hood can see how many slots are being utilized. As a result, it will scale up, but there is a slight delay with the scale up of slots, and that's one of the things that a lot of the customers that I've dealt with have had misconceptions about around that slight lag, which I've had to teach our customers to get used to and basically manage around.
And on top of that, you mentioned slots used with flex slots, whereas I believe the autoscaler in the way you're charged as far as slot hours, it's in terms of slots scaled, and their autoscaler scales in increments of 100 slots. And so not taking that into account can obviously have huge impact on your BigQuery bill. Is that something that you're also finding, just customers not realizing that it's based on slot scale, maybe because they're used to this slots used, I guess, way of being charged with flex slots?
I'd say definitely. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of it. And which also leads to the other point of being able to scale with 100 slots. There may be slot wastage. If you're using 2 slots out of that 100, you're still paying for 98 more slots for that time period as well. So it's a brave new world essentially on what it is on the world, because we're going to something completely new, and people have not been able to adapt yet. Our customers have not been able to adapt yet to the way that it's going to be going forward with the scaling, and it's going to impact bills. And I know here at DoiT, we've seen quite a bit of variation on bills, and some customers really freaking out because they've not sure how it is, not sure how it's going. They've set different parameters, and they're just still seeing massive bills because even a lot of us that have been messing with this at the beginning, we're still not able to really tell you, here's how the best way to do this yet, because it's still a very big unknown.